But before I introduce Yaakov, I want to ask a question, and that is, if I could just trouble everybody in this room, even the people who can't see me, if you could just listen for a little while, if I could just ask the people if we could just not talk, because this is the Chofetz Chaim Heritage Foundation Shmiras Haloshen evening, if we could just not talk so that everybody can hear what we're doing. So let me take you on a quick journey through the life of one child. We'll call him Yaakov. Yaakov went to elementary school. There he learned Aleph. He learned what it meant to keep Shabbos. He learned to daven. And then he learned to learn Gemara. As a spiritual manufacturing machine, he was highly productive. He davened, and therefore he produced 485 words of Birkat HaShachar, 1,831 words of Psuki de Zimra every day, 844 words of Birkat Kriyashma. He worked with Chavrusa for 3 hours in the morning, creating 200 words a minute, for a total of tens of thousands, and that was only in morning Seder. Once he got the Yeshiva Gedolah, his total output was staggering. Yaakov ran a very profitable business of Torah and Tefillah. But it's not so simple according to the Chofetz Chaim. You see, if you spread out all the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah, there's no question that Torah is by far the most precious mitzvah of all. The only problem is that Torah is actually a composite of several things put together. There's the Torah, the person learning the Torah, and then there's the manufacturing equipment that it creates the Torah. That's Yaakov's mouth. Now, as remarkable as it is to believe, the Chofetz Chaim teaches us that the quality of the Torah learned, the quality that energizes the Torah, or Chas v'Shalom the opposite, that is dependent on the quality of a person's mouth. If his mouth is pure, his Torah is pure. And Chas v'Shalom, if his mouth isn't pure, then it's just the opposite. The Chofetz Chaim goes so far as to say that somebody who learns Torah and doesn't concern himself with Shmiras Haloshen, his Torah is nechshevet l'klum. That's a direct quote. His Torah is worthless. You see, the reason why the Chofetz Chaim makes such a huge deal about Shmiras Haloshen is because if you dissect the spiritual success of the Yid, his Torah, his Tefillah, his mitzvahs be'onam l'makom even, because most of the mitzvahs be'onam l'makom are triggered by brachos created by the mouth, and certainly the mitzvahs be'onam l'chazeret. If you study, the Chofetz Chaim will tell you that how you speak will determine how successful each of us is going to be at Ruchnius. So when the Chofetz Chaim Heritage Foundation succeeds at teaching this generation of children to adhere to Shmiras Haloshen, all these tens of thousands of children will end up learning Torah and davening with pure mouth, and their Torah will be a holy, pure, and powerful Torah. The actualization and upside of Chofetz Chaim Heritage Foundation is nothing less than the actualization of Torah. But if that wasn't enough for you to tell yourself, I must succeed at Shmiras Haloshen, here's another. Tonight we finish a Sefer Torah that has 304,805 words. Now there's an amazing halakha about this. If one word is missing in this Sefer Torah that we're finishing tonight, just one word out of 304,805, the whole Torah is puzzled. What's the lesson that Hashem is teaching us? We know that each of us has a place in the Torah that represents us. Well, if we're represented by an ois and one ois is missing, the lesson Hashem wants us to learn is if one Jew is missing, that Hashem says if you leave out one Jew, then my Shekhinah and my Kiddush is not going to rest on this thing like a Sefer Torah. It's either all of us or never none of us. That's how important every single Jew is to Hashem, and that is the Mitzvah Shmiras Haloshen, because Lashon Hara knows the Lord validates Jews and separates us one from each other. Do you want to know how important this issue is to Hashem? When enough people speak Lashon Hara and have Sinas Pninim in their heart, it actually drove the Shekhinah from the Beit HaMikdash and left us adrift in this bitter golden. But if holding on to the Shekhinah in our midst isn't enough of a reason to relook at the mitzvah Shmiras Haloshen, here's another one. We're living in a very, very difficult world with many, many enemies. The Chofetz Chaim tells us that Shmiras Haloshen is an amazing shmir, and he quotes that King Achaz, who was an Oved Avodah Zarah, he was successful in battle and nobody died because he didn't speak Lashon Hara. That's an amazing thing that Chofetz Chaim says that Shmiras Haloshen brings an amazing shmira to Klal Yisrael. It determines the quality of